Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. We all know that if you're motivated, you perform better. But what drives one person doesn't necessarily influence another. Michelle Gibbings says you should sit down with your employees individually and find out what drives them. Michelle is a workplace expert and author of several books, including award-winning Bad Boss: What to Do If You Work for One, Manage One, or Are One. To begin, Michelle Gibbings reminds us why it's important to be aware of what motivates your team. She's talking to Chris Ashmore.
Well, we know that we're in an economy at the moment that is facing some challenging times, and you really do want your team members to be productive, to get things done. And we know that there are connections between productivity and how motivated your team members are. And also, you want to retain good talent. And you're not going to retain good talent if they're not motivated and they're not enjoying their work environment. And similarly, if you've got people who are working and they're not well, there's impacts with mental health and well-being, that's going to play into productivity as well. And also just that sense of culture and how the team connects. So the motivation piece is really critical.
And how much is it on the boss's shoulders to motivate their staff?
It's a joint effort. Look, it's really easy to say it's everyone's, this person should do this or this person should do that, but both parties play a role. They have what we call extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. So the intrinsic motivation are things that the individual can do, and it's looking at things like, satisfaction, getting things done, that sense of achievement, working in an environment where you are enjoying the challenge and the learning. But there are also extrinsic factors, and that is where the boss can play a role in terms of understanding what the individual needs, how they like to feel valued and involved in activities, how they like reward and recognition. So both parties play a really important role.
And when it comes to the workplace, what motivates employees these days?
Well, certainly we've seen, shifts over time, and we would, all of us coming out of the pandemic, people have got used to working from home. And so we have seen that flexibility and that ability to better balance work and home life is increasingly important from a motivation perspective.
Where do things like wage rises and career development, where does that fit in?
Look, they're both important, and, often people think, it's all about the money, and money does, it matters, and particularly when we're in a cost of living crisis, it's important, but money isn't often the ultimate motivator. But you do want to make sure that people are being paid fairly for the work that they're doing. And that also then connects with career development, because people want to see that they're making progress in their career and that there are opportunities for that learning and that growth. So both of those are important elements to consider in motivation.
And there needs to be a certain level of respect as well that happens in a company.
Look, absolutely. And there's fantastic research which is done by Christine Porath from Georgetown University, and they ranked a whole range of different indicators around what motivates people in the workplace. And what their research showed was that the number one element was respect. And if you think about it, if a person's getting paid, they can get paid really well, they can be getting career development. But if they feel like they're treated badly and that there's no respect and no dignity in the workplace, they're going to leave. And so all of these elements play together.
Mazars is an international audit, tax and advisory firm committed to helping clients confidently build and grow their businesses. Move forward with Mazars. Visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
How can a boss recognise whether an employee is motivated or not? Are there signs?
Look, there's a couple of things. So if you're seeing someone at work who comes to work, they do the bare minimum, they're not interested in getting involved, they're not interested in the quality of the work that they're delivering, they're not connecting with the other team members well, all of those are warning signs. But also as an employer, you want to be having conversations with your team all the time. What's working? How are you going? What else do you need? All of those types of conversations. And if you're regularly having those conversations, as a boss, you should be able to pick up pretty quickly, hey, I think something is shifting in that dynamic. And then if you notice the shift, then have that conversation. Hey, are you okay? What's going on? I used to see you really enjoying work and now it feels like something shifted. Are you okay?
I suppose if an employee isn't motivated and continues to be unmotivated, that can be contagious.
Look, it can, and there's a couple of parts to it. One, it could be contagious in the terms of, people go, well, they're not doing much work, so why am I expected to work hard? But also it can create a culture where quality starts to suffer. And also you get different camps where you'll get the people who are working really hard and they're motivated, and then you get people who aren't working hard and aren't motivated. And that's not a good place for a team to be, because you want the team to connect, you want the team to be able to help each other, to support each other. And when you get those divides, you'll get one group going, but why am I helping them? I don't think they're actually working as hard as me, so why should I spend more time with them? And that's not a good place to be as well. And so the key thing with all of this as the leader is to really sit down, understand your team. If you see that there are issues, talk that through, work out what's going on. And I also would say the same for an employee. If you're in an environment where you feel like, you're working really hard and other people aren't, well, have that conversation with your boss and sort of get a sense of what's really going on. And, what else can you do to contribute? But what can the team do to come together and contribute? Because if you have a culture where everyone is coming together, working hard and doing their best, and you can feel that you're achieving and you're learning, that's contagious too. And gee, that feels good.
Any final words on motivation?
I think the key thing to recognise as an employer is that people thrive under different types of leadership, and not everybody needs the same thing. So if you really want to motivate your team, retain good talent, and create an environment where everyone is really thriving, take the time to know your team members at an individual level. Understand what each of them need so that you can then help them bring their best to work every day.
That was workplace expert Michelle Gibbings. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.